Yes, today is the 5th of June 2023, and this little episode happened in the end of the 90s. At that time, we were always very full, and if I ever wanted to spend some time with my girlfriend, it was very difficult because we hardly ever had any time for each other. So one day I had a transfer to the airport. No, I had a pickup from the airport, and somehow she managed to I don't know if somebody else did the cooking for dinner or how we got away with that she came with me. But basically, that was already a big time for ourselves, just doing a pickup from the airport and we driving over there, the two of us. Um, so we were driving to Montego Bay, and on the way over, I called the airport, and the plane had been delayed by 2 hours. We were like, it was supposed to come in about 5:30 or something like in the evening, and it now came in 7:30. So basically we had 2 hours on our hand. We couldn't do any business because it was in the evening. So we drove down Long Hill, which is the hill going down to Montego Bay, and I said to my girlfriend, let's go and look at that subdivision. There was a subdivision, a newly built subdivision on the right going up. And she said, oh, yeah, let's do that. And then we drove up there, and there hadn't been, no houses had been built yet, but there were roads going all over the subdivision. And we drove right to the top of it. And at the top, you had a fantastic view over Montego Bay, like we were seeing behind us a bit with the town and everything. And it was very beautiful. And I had just got a new VW bus at the time, and it was very smart and comfortable, and we stopped at the top there, and um, because we had time on our hands, we in the end climbed in the back and did what lovers do. Anyways, we were finished with that, and then my girlfriend went out to take a pee, and next thing I noticed that there were some guys around the car, but I had tinted windows. I couldn't quite see what was going on outside, but I saw that there were some guys, and I knew, oh, this is not good. Yeah. So I scrambled to find my gun because the clothes were all bungled up somewhere. I found it luckily, and then I called out of the car. I said, "Hey, I got a gun. Get out of the place," and so on. And one guy was not deterred by that. He kept trying to look inside of the van, and he was always like peeping in, trying to peep in, but he couldn't see anything through the tinted windows. And I basically had the gun at his head all the time. I mean, if I would have pulled the trigger, he would have just blown off his head. But I didn't know exactly what was going on outside, so I'm not going to pull the trigger on somebody. I have no idea what's going on. Anyway, in the end, I just opened the window a crack. There was these sliding windows, and I just fired a shot out of the thing, and then he ran away. And I went out, and my girlfriend told me that they had told her to lie on the ground. They had machetes with them, machetes, and yeah, and then they were gone. So we were like, oh, well, luckily they're gone, and we wanted to get back in the car and drive off. And then we noticed that I didn't even notice how they had opened the door and pulled off the key. And anyway, they had pulled out the key, and so we were there stranded without a key. So we called the police, and the police arrived about half an hour later, and they said, the first thing they said, well, why didn't you shoot them? Yeah. And I said, well, I didn't know who they were and what their intentions were. I couldn't even, I was in the van. And they said, oh, they have done this before. Like, they've done that to couples uh, up here before. And what normally happens is that they would rape the three guys, and they would rape the girl, and then take all three of them, one after another, and then they would have taken all the belongings and tied us up and thrown us in the bush. And So, I mean, we were pretty relieved then. And then they said, well, we're going to take a round and see if we can see them. So they left us again up there. And we had called a wreck up because we didn't want to leave the van up there and we didn't have a key. So anyway, so they leave out and come back about 15 minutes later saying they didn't find the guys, but they found a key. And it was my key. So they found it apparently on the road. And so then the wrecker arrived. Of course, we had to pay for the wrecker. And in the end, we left and went back home. I now picked up the people because from their flight and went back home. But it was quite a terrifying experience. But I must say, I'm not sure if I would have actually stopped at that spot if I hadn't had the confidence, of having a gun with me. And I actually was very lucky because I had a lot of cash with me. I had some guests that just checked out, and I had probably about $3,000 in cash. I had my laptop with me, my telephone, all sorts of valuables. So that would have been a real hit for us, and much not to talk about the terrifying experience that would have been if they would have raped my girlfriend. I couldn't even believe how that would have traumatized her and me. But that was basically the only time I've ever got kind of, at least somebody tried to mug me. That's never happened to me before. So that was a kind of, that's the story for tonight. And I'm not sure if I can do a video tomorrow. So it might be the day after tomorrow. But I'll see you for sure and have a good one. Please subscribe and like the videos, especially subscribe. I want to get my subscriptions up. That would be a big, big help if you could do that for me. And if you have a little donation, the donation is in the description box. That would also be a big help for me at the moment because I'm still very low. And I need to give a big shout out to Sean. I've already shouted out to him, and the other ones are German, so I'm going to give a shout out in the German section. Okay, so that was it so far tonight, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.